our call meeting, sorry. Roll call?
Bonnie McInerney Slater, present. Deborah Addy.
Here.
Dennis Szymanski.
Here.
Joan Shirkey.
Here.
Ryan Treppa.
Here.
And Ken Lepowski, our alternate, is also here, but will not be voting this evening.
Approval or amendments to the agenda.
Move to amend the agenda to remove item C as it needs to be renoticed for next month.
I'll second.
Just do all in favor? or you
That's
wanna do a
fine.
roll call? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of minutes from December 16th, 2020 meeting.
Make the motion that we go ahead and approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from December 16th, 2020. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I wasn't there, so I don't think I can approve.
Okay.
Okay, zoning board appeals. The Clay Township Zoning Board of Appeals, or ZBA, primarily addresses practical difficulty based on lot size, location, shape, or contour and/or location of existing buildings. We are guided by section 27.05 of ordinance number 126. There are 5 members on the ZBA, all of whom are present tonight. At least 3 members must vote affirmatively for a motion to grant a variance. 3 members constitute a quorum. Each appeal before the ZBA will have a public hearing, at which time the applicant will present his or her case and a public comment regarding that issue will follow. During this time, members of the board may ask questions of clarification. If the particular point gets belabored, the chairperson has the right to limit comments. When the public hearing is closed, the board will move on to the deliberation of the particular variance request. If the applicant should disagree with the board's decision, he or she has the right to take it to circuit court within 30 days of the decision. When your appeal hearing is concluded, you are welcome to leave or stay as you wish. I'd like to open up new business. Our first one is ZBA, or no, sorry, Larry, JZBA. What is the J standing for, I wonder?
It's on all our projects.
Oh, okay, sorry. JZBA 2021-001, owner and representative of 8575 Colony Drive. Please stand up and,
Okay,
up here, Mike, state your name and,
let me go up here.
yes, please. Is that 6 feet or more? You good with that, 6 feet? Very good.
So, Jeannie Kidwell is the owner.
Hang on, Mike, can you just state your name and?
Oh, okay.
Your name and address first, please.
My name's Mike Stevenson, and I live at 8390 Morrow Road. And I'm representing the owner, Jeannie Kidwell,
Thank you.
okay? So, this is a property that we put a new house on the riverside last year. It has a dilapidating boathouse on the opposite side. So it was in need of basically demo and rebuild. So that's the next phase that we're moving on to. We're looking for a height variance. It's a little bit higher than the 15 feet. And also, we'd like to put like a little bit of living space and a bathroom up top, just for like overflow for her, and finish that area off up there. We're basically staying right within, any of the buildings on that road. It should fit right in really well with the neighborhood. And, basically, we just want to put something nice up rather than having something that's falling down into the canal. So if there's any questions about it, feel free to ask. I did bring a full set of plans too, if you'd like to look at it. It's got all the signatures of the county association on it, so they've approved of it. And like I say, if there's any questions, feel free to ask.
Okay, thank you. Anyone, go ahead, Mike, just that, we'll call you back. Oh, stay right there. Stay right there. Does anyone else want to speak on this variance? We'll close public. So you already got the approval from the Colony Association?
Yep.
Did you bring this in for us, Mike? Is this the association,
There's a copy in there.
I'm not sure
you
what
got a
that
copy
is.
of the association? Is
The
this-
rules? No,
Yeah.
that was someone from the association.
Okay, because we've been asking for that. Cindy, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can make sure everybody got a copy.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you.
This is the proof from the.
Yeah, that's the approval.
Okay, perfect. All right, you guys have any questions?
Just on the bathrooms, is that gonna be over on the land part or the boat well part?
It's gonna be on the land part.
Okay.
Did planning commission ever look at this anymore?
Yeah, remember when we had
Yeah, I
that
know they
joint-
did, but then I thought we're gonna send it back again for things like Colony where the subdivision rules are different than our ordinances.
We stated that in our last meeting that we had, or the last time we had one come up, but I don't
Yeah.
think they met since then.
Okay,
About that, I haven't heard anything
Okay.
regarding this.
I can assure you it was not brought up.
okay.
I think
You
it
know my
needs-
feeling, I always have a really hard time finding a hardship with a boathouse height as well as the second story
I
of living
totally,
space.
I get it, but in this circumstance, I think this colony is a, unique situation, and, I mean, all the boathouses down there are looking really, really nice. I mean, the next one that's being built is probably the biggest one I've seen down there to date. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't
we've
see
already
where
gone
this-
through and done
right,
several of
I
these
don't see
already.
where
I
this
know.
is any-
I mean, I know we've
you're
done
not
it,
asking
and I
for
know.
anything crazy at all.
Yeah,
They have their own set of rules there. Again, there needs to be change in the planning end of it. But,
It's not like Anchor Bay where they can sell across the street either. That's the,
Correct.
you know what I mean? They
Right.
can't sell it as a house later.
Mike, does the boathouse resemble the house that you built last year?
Yes, it's gonna match, everything, basically very similar to what it looks like. Same color, same concept.
And does the peak reach that 22 height on the house as well? Or is this taller than the house?
This is not taller than the house. It won't be as tall.
Okay, all right.
And they want living quarters up in the boathouse?
Yeah,
there won't be a kitchen though, correct?
no.
They'll have a toilet up there?
Yes.
yeah, that's what
I
I
think
asked.
all of them have it down there.
That's why I asked if it's over the land or not, because that was the big thing when, last year, was that the living quarters or restrooms or anything sanitary can't be over the water, it has to be over the land. That's why I asked that question, to make sure
Well,
we
it's all city water and sewer down there, so it's not gonna go into,
Yeah,
the
but,
canal, or it's not gonna, it's gonna go into the.
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna tie into all the utilities. That's the plan.
But I get what you're saying, but you know what I mean, it's not gonna have that
Right.
opportunity, it's not like it's a septic field.
no, I was just saying that,
Oh.
that was one of the things last year when we went through all that. I was just so letting Joey know that, that's the question I asked earlier. I make the motion,
Practical difficulty.
That's always where I have a hard time with these, but we have approved them, and I guess Brian's argument is the practical difficulty is that the association allows it, and that's contrary to our ordinances.
But then, just because they do,
I know.
doesn't mean that we oversee what they say. The township,
Right.
our ordinance says no living quarters.
yeah, well, their whole zone, or what do you wanna call, was what, was adopted or in place long before anything was enforced around here. So,
But again, we're expanding a non-conforming if we allow it to keep
well,
continuing
again,
to.
but there, it's, and the development, and when it was platted and originally done, it was approved way back when. You know, we, just because we changed our way, it doesn't, you know, we can't
Right.
tell the whole association, oh, you can't do that no more.
Doesn't the township oversee anything else though?
Could I speak on that matter for a minute? I know someone on the association over there, and I had a good conversation with them, and he provided us with a copy of their bylaws. Basically what that is they just look at deed restrictions. If there's a deed restriction, then they'll turn it down there. If there's no deed restriction, then they'll approve it as the association, but they rely on the township to, look at it from a zoning and standpoint. So just because they approved it, all they approved is the fact that there's no deed restriction.
Okay, that clarifies.
Disallows a boathouse. So, but they don't, talk about heights or, things that we have in our zoning ordinances. They don't look at that part at all, it's just whether or not there's a deed restriction.
Under our ordinance, in an accessory structure, you can have a restroom, correct? As long as there's no stove in, or kitchen in it also, isn't that what we allow?
Well, what the, our ordinance says is that there's no sanitary facilities in a
In a
boathouse.
boathouse.
Now, taking that one step further, the DEQ doesn't want any sanitary over the water. So we can also look at it and say, we can have sanitary, just can't be located over the top of the waterway.
Right, which
So the
he
garage part.
clarified.
But our
Right.
ordinance does say no sanitary facilities, no second floors, 15-foot mean height. I mean, that's kind of in a nutshell.
So if they built a little garage and a boathouse right next to each other, then that would be different.
And they would be
Too many accessory structures.
very out of place. at
Yeah.
that.
You know, I would entertain the motion to approve, just like Brian had pointed out earlier about the practical difficulty, why the planning commission hasn't adopted this and changed this, but we had this, all three of us meeting last year, just last week or 2 weeks ago, a year ago, and we covered this, and we all agreed upon it. So, I don't think it's, contrary to what's in the pipeline, you know what I'm saying? We know it's gonna happen.
If we get these many differences, we need to have the planning commission change the ordinance.
Right, that's what we had,
Ab-
that's what we had a
absolutely.
meeting about last year, and we all agreed at that meeting that that's what was gonna happen, when the lawyers and everything were there.
Right. And the planners.
The cleaners, I'm sorry.
And I don't think anyone's asking for the whole Clay Township. Colony is a unique road. It's
certainly is.
probably our biggest asset that we have. And they have beautiful houses there. They're all getting redone, and they have been allowed in a long time to put boathouses there. Unfortunately, with the high water, a lot of the boathouses didn't last. And they do need to get improved. I mean, I went down there today, it's the first time I didn't see water, I haven't been down there in a while, but
Yeah, it's down a lot.
that it's finally down to where they can probably use the whole facilities, where I've seen water rushing out of garage doors last year. I don't see where this person is out of line putting that structure up. I mean, with what's going on down that street, and there's big, beautiful houses, and I think they bought in this neighborhood for that reason.
Well, and the other thing is, we have approved several down there before. That's,
Say it again?
I said, we have approved several down there before.
I mean, if you went down there and looked at both of them that we have tonight, there's one right next to the next one after this one, that's really big, real big.
This
That
one's
was
like
pretty
average
impressive. I
size.
mean, I was like, whoa, you know, that must've been, we approved, you know, I didn't, but it's big, it's nice, I mean, it's,
Beautiful. It's a very unique neighborhood.
I'm just, you know, and we have another one right after this one too. I'm just saying, you know, Colony, I think it's a unique situation, and I think we should, again, hopefully, the planning board would change something down there, or look at that a little different
Right.
for that area. Not make it so broad that boathouses aren't allowed, you know, maybe say, hey, this area is a little different. I mean, they are there. I think,
And we zone different areas for different things, so
sure.
there's no reason that
Anchor
they
Bay
couldn't
has
look at.
Anchor Bay has different ones as well, you know,
Anchor Bay is very different all the way around.
so. Dennis, finish your. We need someone to second it.
Unique situation is just because the whole entire neighborhood is,
Nobody,
Nobody yet.
he's still finishing it, I think.
I don't know how that one would, can't think of the way that I just want to say the unique situation. It's similar, it's, you know, conforms to basically to all the other, structures that are throughout that neighborhood. It's not really self-created because, well, we've been, up and down that whole street is all the same type of, structures. Substantial justice, where, I mean, we would be, doing just what all the other neighbors have, you know, on either side of them, would be having the same thing, correct?
So we don't look at something just for itself, we're including everybody else too.
Well, again, that whole subdivision, Colony, St. John Drive, it's all, has its own little,
It's a unique situation over there. We have looked at it as a street, in a sense, at the end of that street. At the beginning of the street, I don't see where they would be allowed, because they don't own both sides of the street, where Colony, they do. I think it's a unique situation to where you can have waterfront on two pieces of property. You know, front is the channel and the back is the canal. And I think that's always what it's been made, that road has been designed to do. House their boat in the canal and enjoy the view.
My point is that we need to have this thing straightened out in our ordinance.
And I think we all agree with that very
But
strongly.
we can't change the ordinance. We're not the changers, you know, we just break them.
How do you cause that to happen? How do we cause that to happen? How would we instigate that?
well, we already
I
had
know.
the meeting about
We've
it.
asked for
I
that,
understand
Joanne, but
that.
last
How
year
do you cause
they
that
were
to
really,
happen? Does somebody
get,
go to
you
planning,
know,
somebody
on-
go to Artie?
the
Well, it
Rose
was-
Marina, across the Rose Marina, that, they were really trying to
He
get
wrote,
the planning done for that. And they did a little bit with the boathouses, they did adjust some ordinances, but they haven't addressed Colony exactly for one road yet. We're asking for it because I see it happening.
Brian,
Is I wanna
Cindy.
see something happen, and if I'm speaking and this is recorded, I think maybe if some of them watch it, they'll get going and we'll have things taken care of.
I agree.
Instead of everything being said here, and we gotta make a decision, and it's against the ordinance, that's my complaint right now, you know, as far
Right.
as this whole thing is.
I mean, most of our cases lately have been boathouses.
Yeah.
Certainly.
I think Cindy
Yeah,
wanted to
can
talk
I-
first.
One second. Cindy raised her hand first, sorry.
I'd just like to offer this thought, Deborah Addy is our new planning commission representative,
Perfect.
and she can check in with us at the office, and we can show her the proper procedure when she goes back to planning,
Okay,
to bring it to their attention properly.
thank you.
So Harold was looking into that, and then obviously something, you know what I mean, so, now, Debbie.
Debbie will look into it.
Yep.
So So do we have a second for Dennis's motion? Basically to approve,
I guess I'll second it, but with hoping the direction is that this goes back to planning so that it can be addressed there, so that we're not changing the ordinance constantly through our board.
okay. So we have a second and a motion to agree to, as written, Dennis? You good with that, as we
Yeah.
would say, as written or proposed?
Read what you said, what your motion is. Can you do that again?
We interrupted him a couple times.
Yeah.
Go
Let's
ahead.
let Bonnie do it, she's better at it.
No, you do it, Dennis, you did it.
I made the motion that we go ahead and approve the variance on 8835 Colony. Or wait, is that the right one? Yeah.
8575.
Oh, 8575, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. As plans drawn, or as submitted. Again, it's not a, like, the practical difficulty is what Brian was saying earlier, what was the entire subdivision is Colony is a unique, it's by itself. I mean, we, like he says, we own both sides, like no one else does, you know. There's one deed or one lot. Like in Anchor Bay, it's 2 lots, right?
Not necessarily,
No?
but
No.
Colony is a unique road in general, because I do believe that down that street, they can't sell the second half. They
Right.
can't divide it.
No.
Where Anchor Bay at one time used to have that privilege, but somehow, somewhere, it started to be sold off as property across the street and then property on the bay. And I think Colony has done, it's gotta be in the ordinance, I don't know, I didn't read it, so we just got it, but I'm pretty sure through my whole lifetime, that was how I understood Colony at the end. So it is a unique road, I'm sorry to,
Yeah, and a unique situation, just because of what you just said, it basically covers the same thing, you know, because of the lots on both sides of the road, or both sides, lakefront or water access on both sides. Not self-grading.
and it's not unique from the whole entire street, it's not the only one that's gonna be there.
Right,
There is
exactly.
other structures that are probably bigger than that. Size-wise, or,
Substantial justice, you know, again, it's just going with it's not doing anything different than any other of the buildings on that particular street. And, well, not contrary to the ordinance, I mean, it just needs to be readopted as far as the planning commission is concerned, you know, just like we covered last year in this, so.
And Bonnie, you're seconding it with, what did you add on to your second?
Not really adding on, but with the caveat that, again, Deborah, bring it back to planning commission to review this again, so that we are not constantly getting boathouses, especially on Colony Drive.
I like that.
Mr. Treppel, may I comment on this?
yes.
I think that this boathouse is in harmony with what's going on in Colony. There's no doubt about that. To say that we would need to change our ordinances based on this unique situation on Colony, I think we're taking that too far. If the building is in harmony with the neighborhood, then I think that's an easy decision to make. They did make great strides last year when it went to planning, and we made some changes, and the biggest changes were going from open boathouses and closed boathouses, and that's where we did some defining there to take a lot of these off
Right.
of your plate. Where these boathouses that face smaller canals, they could be enclosed. They could do more than just be open like it is on open water. So I think they made some great changes in that, but to say that we need to make a wholesale change because of a unique situation on a street that all the boathouses on that street are in harmony with the neighborhood. I'm not so sure that really needs to go back to planning to revisit this when we've got this unique situation.
I was just thinking that if they don't need to spend the $250 to come in front of us to hear that they're, you know, they're in harmony with the next boathouse next door to them. I think if we just made some simple changes, you could be authorized to
Prove it.
approve that without coming to
Right.
us and try to save them, you know, planning, you know, the months, you know, they might have to wait for us to meet, or the $250, which is, you know, a fee that I don't see, you know, we've been approving them, and I just think that a little bit more adjustment to that ordinance might
Right.
help that situation.
Well,
But I'm not on that
and I
board. I'm not on
understand-
that board.
We need to paint this with a broad brush. And if we start saying, okay, now we're just gonna approve it from a building department standpoint, then that's a judgment call when we do have an ordinance that specifies.
That's what,
That's why you-
well, that's why I wanted to change, so you could approve that for this road.
The problem-
Properties are able to build a boathouse that are in compliance, you know, with the ordinance. And, you know, we start opening that up, then we're opening up a can of worms. But, you know, it's pretty built out on Colony. When we do have these that come across, I still think the best avenue, because, you know, we're talking about, on this particular one, we're talking about, you know, 2 stories. The thing sits up there pretty good, along with a lot of the other ones. But I don't think, you know, it's in harmony. They need to come in here to make sure that maybe there is other circumstances, and also gives the neighbors a voice on whether or not, you know, they want to have this in their neighborhood or next to them. So I think, you know, that decision still is beneficial to us in the building department to be made here, in this forum.
My only concern with that concept is that there are a lot of things that would be in harmony that are not a hardship. And I have a hard time with these boathouses getting to where violating the ordinance is truly a hardship. So I guess that's why I'd like to see it go back, because the first thing we're supposed to be able to get to is a hardship. And is never been a hardship if it's truly just they want a taller boathouse. So I guess that's where the way I look at it, but.
One thing I would like to add, though, just on this particular one, they are calling for an accessory dwelling unit on the 2nd floor. That's not what's before you today. They would still need to go to planning commission for special land use to actually have that dwelling unit
Okay.
on that.
Did the other ones have to?
Yep.
Then maybe they'll look at it there too.
Yeah.
Address it differently.
All right.
So the ones being built right now had to go in front of the planning?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Ready for a roll call?
All right, roll call?
Joanne Shirkey,
I'll go along with this as long as we can get this thing under control.
okay. Dennis Szymanski,
Yes.
Deborah Addy,
Yes.
Bonnie McInerney Slater, yes. Brian Treppa.
Yes. Motion granted.
Thank you.
Ken, I'm sorry, did you have something that would, okay. Maybe you'll refresh your memory on the next one, okay? I just totally slipped my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I'm sorry.
Just as a bystander, I'm just wondering where it kind of ends, because it seems like, I have no issue with either of these applications. It sounds like they'll fit in with this neighborhood and whatever. But
Okay.
each one's bigger than the last. I mean,
Right.
I just drove down there today, and that gray house on the
Yeah, I think,
It seems to be getting bigger and bigger. I've lived here
So-
almost 50 years. I know that was. They're just,
that one,
they're castles now. And
That's
where's
the one
that?
we've
I mean,
questioned all
each
along,
guy wants
right?
out these-
Yeah.
the other, so-
Here.
I guess
I
that's
think
the
I can
ordinance
say it.
issue, right, Brian?
Pardon me?
That's the ordinance issue you've been talking
Yeah.
about. That would have to be.
you know, yeah, I mean,
Because just fitting in.
Gary's right, Gary's right as far as, you know, it is a process going through changing an ordinance. We totally agree with that. I mean, as a board, I think the street is kind of getting, the applicants, you know what I mean, are still coming in, regularly. And I think that's why we kind of like, well, if it's coming in regularly, why not address it in a different manner? But I agree with Gary too. You know, he has to have an outlet to make sure that he's not the only say, I guess. So that's the first I would, you know, think of it and how Gary presented it to me. So now I'm, you know, not clouded, but kind of just thinking differently, I guess. So
All right.
we'll go to the next one. All right, so, under new business, JZBA 2021-002, owner or representative of 8835 Colony Drive. Please step up to the podium, state your name, and give us a rundown.
My name is Mark Frederick of Waterford, Michigan. I'm representing the owner, James Pluter, at 8835 Colony Drive. He is also requesting a similar boathouse, although I haven't seen the plans to the previous applicant. His boathouse will be a combination boathouse and garage. So it will have a boathouse with an upper level over the garage, but not an upper level over the boathouse. The lower level of the garage will have a restroom in it at some point. I understand your dilemma here. You know, it's just a can of worms that's will never get shut. I would think you could potentially have a circumstance where you had an exception in your ordinances or set up a separate set of ordinances for Colony Drive because it's such a unique circumstance in the fact that these people buy these houses with an attached piece of property that can't be a residential unit. It wouldn't meet the ordinance to build a house over there. So all those boathouses over there don't block views of waterways of a neighboring residence. So it's not like they're building a boathouse in their backyard immediately adjacent to another residence. In terms of hardships, I think, unfortunately, the best hardship you can make is to deny an owner of those properties to develop the boathouse in accordance with what their neighbors have done. You're denying them the opportunity to develop their land, which previously has been accorded to other residents.
All right, how does this, with yours, what variance are you have a height?
We have a height and a second story.
Second story?
Yeah.
Okay. Stay right there. Anyone wish to speak on this variance? All right, close public. All right. Similar circumstances, you guys.
I think it's the same argument.
It is. Is he doing anything different than anyone else has? I guess, are we looking at any, you know, trying,
It's the same
It's
two
a-
issues.
to me, I think it's the exact same.
May I say something?
Yes?
One of the things that I think also is unique to this neighborhood is a lot of these boathouses were built many, many years ago. And when they start falling in and collapsing, you should be able to, you know, rebuild what you had there and/or to match your house, because a lot of those houses have been rebuilt too, because that's a 100-year-old subdivision.
Well, this one actually has an existing boathouse that is being,
Right, I saw-
it has been torn down. The seawall's
Yeah, a
actually
couple
been
of
built.
them, I think both of these were torn
Okay.
down. 'Cause they were in the process when I was over there.
I'm kind of familiar with the drive, but I'm not totally familiar with the drive. So,
It's gone.
yeah, I know that one's gone. I just meant I'm not totally familiar with everything on Colony Drive.
These are the plans that Cindy sent, emailed, did you guys
Yeah.
get that?
Yeah, we looked at them on our computer here.
Again, I just,
Well, I would make the motion that we approve this one just as well, and basically the same circumstances that we just covered the one prior.
I'll just make it unique to this one then, Dennis, somehow, for future.
Well, again,
Not to be difficult, but one of these days it might come back to bite us as far as being vague, and I think,
well, again,
Eventually
going
it's gonna
back
come down to it.
to the Colony Drive situation here, it's, you know, these boathouses are, like you were saying earlier, it's no different than all the other ones that are up and down there, matching the houses. And everybody's, you know, 30 years ago, everybody had a little 20-foot skiff. Now everybody's, you know, big boats, you need big boathouses.
I don't know if it's about the boat or what people have, to be honest with you. I think it's, you know, in general, that road, they're building bigger houses, they're worth a lot of money. They do have that unique waterfront on both sides, and I think if you look down south on any other big lakes, you should see the boathouses that they have down. You know, I'm
Right.
not trying to compare Algonac to Kentucky or something like that, but it's a different structure, and
And it is replacing a dilapidated structure.
Correct.
And improving the area.
correct.
So is that your motion?
Yes.
I'm smiling.
Yes, I'll second it.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to approve the variance. Roll call, please.
Joanne Turkey,
With reservation, yes.
Dennis
Doesn't
Szymanski,
count.
Yes.
Deborah Addy,
Yes.
Bonnie McInerney Slater, yes, Brian Truppa.
Yes. Motion granted. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Give me 1 minute.
Almost done. Getting better, I can write them while he's talking.
Let's see.
Okay, so C was the St. John's Drive one that we're gonna postpone and go to next month's meeting. The paperwork wasn't finished, I guess, or filled out correct. I don't know
Right.
how it went, but
I think the
gonna postpone
variance
that.
advertised was incorrect.
They needed,
or however,
Yeah.
but that'll be next
It'll
month.
come back.
So we're gonna go to D. So J, ZBA 2021-004, owner representative of 7378 Flamingo. Please come to the podium, state your name.
Dale Hall, I'm the owner of 7378 Flamingo, Clay Township.
So, do you want me to restate mine for the record?
Just say yes, please, Mike.
Mike Stevenson. So in this situation, we have a existing sun porch that's on one of the rears of the house. And it's old, it's been there, I'm guessing, around 40 years. Dale and his wife picked up the property in 2011, so it's had been there for a long time. And basically, they're looking to, remove that structure and just replace it with, a new structure. I know it's stated in the notes and everything that it never had a permit. But like I said, they just got it in 2011. They've done a few improvements since and getting a permit on everything. You know, an addition, a shed that they put in, they even got a permit on that. So they've been, you know, up to snuff on everything as they've been going along. And they've just been phasing out like, you know, different projects and just, you know, making the property better. And they, I do also have, you know, what what we're looking at doing, if I can approach the board, if you guys would like to see it.
Thank you.
So it's gonna be a structure, Mike, not a.
Thank you.
Not like a sunroom
Thank you.
from a company. You're gonna build it.
No, I'm gonna,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, if I can add to Mike's comments, the house was built in '74, and I've got records that show that sunroom, to Mike's point, was put in shortly thereafter, so it's been there 40 years plus. And it's one of those old aluminum, non-insulated, single pane glass, and Mike's gonna put a permanent structure in place of it, remove the old one, put a permanent structure in place, insulated, heated, so that we can use it year-round.
Can I ask a question?
Not yet.
No.
Okay, thanks, you guys. Hold still. Open up public comment. Anyone would want to speak on this variance? All right, you guys sit down for a second, please. Come on up, state your name, please. Yeah, we can't hear you from back there because we got to have you on speaker. Please state your name and what you'd like to, on this variance, please.
Greg Smith, we live on the property directly north of theirs. They've approached us and all the neighbors. We all agree that it'll be a real nice improvement, bring the value up on their house as well as ours. They've had additions put on the house before, and it's good taste. It directly fits in with all the rest of ours, and I'd like to support it.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else like to speak on this variance? All right, we're gonna close public comment. You guys probably have to come back up if they have questions for you guys. Because with the microphone, you gotta have it on the mic. Sorry. So go ahead, Bonnie, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just have one quick question. The only reason I was gonna do it before is so they didn't have to bring them back up
Oh,
again.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
I just want to verify this is the same footprint. It looks like it is from the various drawings.
yes, it doesn't project out anymore, but it does go a little bit wider toward the middle of the house.
Okay. Did
Okay.
the former one have a foundation, or was it just,
It's on a foundation, like, yeah, it's on a slab that has like a rat wall.
okay. But you're not going to use the same foundation? You're pouring a new one?
We're gonna have to definitely have it beefed up, yep.
Okay.
Question that, when I looked at that property, there's some bricks up, you know, veneer, stone veneer. Is that staying, or is that coming down, or are you changing it, or that's been already working on it, correct?
Yeah, well, are you talking about like the opposite side of the house? You might be on the, like,
Yeah.
Yeah, the one facing south, we did 4 years ago with Mike. This is the one facing west, because it's a corner lot. Yeah, so this is on the west side, and it's, yeah, there's no bricks on this, it's all aluminum, attached to the house.
it's a brick ranch. It's kind of behind, what they're talking about is behind the house, in a sense. Where you're looking at is like to the left of the house, more towards the other canal or colony. So it's the sunroom that was behind the house, if you're looking at it from the driveway.
Okay.
that's what makes it unique, because there's almost like 2 rear yards.
Yeah.
Well, I was
It
just
is-
gonna ask, who's to say what's the side yard and what's the rear yard?
The ordinance defines it.
Well, if you're on a,
But I guess my thought with this one is it is an unusual lot, again, with two different sides facing the canal. It's just replacing something that's been existing, so it's not adding to anything there. And it does not appear that it would block anybody's view or cause any issues. So, I guess, based on that, that would be my motion unless somebody else has
I would
The only
something
thing
to
I want to
add.
do is add to it and give Gary flexibility to allow a little bit, because of those existing footings, if they need to be adjusted or removed, or,
Well, he said he's gonna
Altered.
pull the well, pour the footing.
but instead of building it right on that, give him some leeway, if, you know what I mean?
Well, in order to build what we're approving, I think that's kind of a given.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's got to be pinned into the existing, you know.
I'm just thinking the canal thing, if he had to go 6 inches, or if he had to, you know.
right,
Oh,
You know what I mean?
It'd be better for us if we
Give
could dig a
Gary
trench
the-
on the
the
outside
okay
of
to
that. And
have a
and
little-
more
oh,
structure.
just leave it in there.
Right,
Yeah. Oh,
exactly.
yeah, that'd be the
That's
easiest.
the only thing I looked at, when I looked at it today, I'm like, ooh, you know, it'd be nice to be able to just allow Gary, the building inspector, to have reason to say, yep, I understand Mike's, or whatever dilemma the footing could have. That's the only thing I would do. if
Okay, I
we
understand.
approve
That sounds reasonable. I
And
mean,
then, you know, again, it's,
makes sense,
I
actually.
don't want to put a number on it. Gary would have to say, well, okay, Mike and you guys agree to whatever.
Yeah,
If
when
it's,
they tear out the old one, I doubt they're gonna find much up underneath it, but yeah.
I just don't want him to say, oh, nope, you guys got to go 1 inch bigger than, you know what I mean? If, you know, I'm just trying to say, hey, we understand a little bit, I guess. You know,
so
you
should
know.
it be a motion to approve based on my previous statements with the understanding that the building official has leeway with the foundation as necessary?
I'll second that.
Perfect. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Hold on, let me write this before I
Oh,
do
sorry.
it.
I thought you shorthanded.
I'm trying. I have the standard language for
I'm
Boathouse
teasing you.
now. All right. Joanne Shirkey,
Yes,
Dennis Szymanski,
Yes,
Deborah Addy,
Yes,
Bonnie McInerney Slater, yes, Brian Treppa.
Yes. Motion approved.
Thank you.
Variance approved. Thanks, guys. Give us 1 minute for her to fill this out. Cindy, do we have any for next month?
Yes. Do you have St. John's that was canceled tonight?
Right?
A new one where?
Marina.
Okay, we'll get going here. So the next new business is JZBA 2021-005, owner representative at 7270 Goodrich Highway, Parsons Island.
Not sure we could talk about this a little later, I'm not sure how clear your drawings are, but I blew it up so you can see it easier. Good evening, my name is Herb Blackstock, I'm representing the owner tonight. I'm with Blackstock Alessandri, the architect. Address is 70 McComb Place, Suite 220, Mount Clemens, Michigan. What we're proposing is a new cottage. The site, like many on the island, is very unique. One, it's tiny. It's a small lot. It's also on a peninsula, so I'm not sure if anybody visited the site or not. It actually extends out to the South Channel, and probably best if I kind of explain it. So, road is here, South Channel. It's also on a peninsula with two canals on either side. And the lot actually has an easement which allows access to it. So it's a very tiny lot, and when we submitted or spoke to the building department, their concern were front and rear setbacks. Again, it was a little gray because, again, we're on a peninsula. We're not on a road per se. We did manage to meet both side or exceed both side setbacks because there are two structures on the neighboring properties. So we are much farther than what your minimums are for the side. The issue is that from front or rear, what we're considering front or rear facing either canal, the lot essentially is not long enough to meet those setback requirements, let alone put a building on it. So what we've done, and we kind of highlighted, fluorescent are the neighboring structures. Hopefully you can see the bold line for the site plan, or the boundaries, site boundaries.
Can't see it, can you hold it up, please?
So this is our property line. This is our proposed structure. And what we did is we used the setbacks based on water. So we connected the corners of each one of these neighboring pieces of structure to show you that we're not pushing it too far towards either canal. So we're essentially requesting a variance for what we're considering the front and rear setbacks. Again, it's a fairly small structure, 2 stories. I think the total was 1,700 square feet, and I believe that included the garage, which was actually included in the first floor footprint. So it's a very small structure that, again, fits into the fabric of the surroundings. Again, we tried to be cognizant of views and things of the neighbors, and that's why we pushed it back as much as we could, but still allow for the structure to fit on the property.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to open up public comment on this variance. Anyone? Close public. Did you get something from the health department already?
I've not. The owner's here.
Where's the septic field
I
gonna
was
go in?
thinking that too.
In this whole scheme of things, I mean, did you guys do that first at all?
Excuse me, Steve Humes and my dad is the owner.
Okay, just, yeah, we can't hear because we're being recorded and we have to be on mic. Just state your name and just,
Certainly.
please.
Steve Humes, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I did call Lowell and I believe Mike from the St. Clair County Health Department before we dove into it and seen what was similar to 7268 Goodrich. And according to them, her structure is relatively recent, but of course, to see if we could fit, they thought the same thing, and they thought there's enough room on the side towards the south channel to put something similar to the identical septic system that 7268 just did a couple years ago. So we believe that, but based on this approval, that was the next step to get the health department and then final plans approved for them to come out and, of course, tell us where they'd like the septic system.
The only problem is if it goes, they come out and say something
Right.
different, that
So
changes the
that's
whole
what I'm saying.
variance.
Do you, what happen, I mean, what happens if they say, no, you gotta go bigger, and you know what I mean? I don't wanna,
Well, if I can.
Sure, please.
If, again, we've exceeded the side setbacks. So if we had to, we can still push the structure towards the road.
so you have still a little bit
We
of flexion.
we still
Okay.
have
All right.
left to right, we're
Okay.
fine. We've exceeded that. We've got, I believe your minimum was a total of 15 with a minimum of 5 to one side.
5 and 10, yeah.
We're showing almost 10 to one side and 18-foot 11
Okay,
right now.
So yeah, there's
So
enough room to,
Okay.
It's not so much.
so you
the-
have a little fluff
Yeah,
room,
we've
okay.
got wiggle room left and right. It's front to rear that.
And we did pull her permit to see if that was doable.
Understand.
Okay.
You putting, are you putting the riffraff up, are you leaving that, or are you seawalling that?
We've seen.
I saw the stream line up there. You are seawalling that?
It's already completed.
Rip wraps around the boathouse.
Then I looked at the wrong piece.
The rip wraps out here around this
This part,
parcel.
there's seawalls down, we were over looking at this.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
This
Yeah,
boathouse
all
has all got rip wrap all the way
Okay.
around it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we connected the two seawalls, yeah.
Brian, as a condition of a permit, we would need health department approval on that field and tank before we would even approve a permit.
I was just trying to avoid approving or denying something and then not, you know what I mean? And then the health department comes in and says something opposite and they'd have to come back in front of us, you know? As long as they have a little bit of room and,
But I think
We'll
we
see how
have
it
to approve this to be at this location anyways, you know, and talk about small lots, this is definitely a small lot. You know, they are working, on the canal side as the straight line setback idea, even though the building next to them is a combination boathouse. So that takes it right to the water's edge. But the person that's gonna be most affected by a build here, would not be, their view would not be cut down one bit because of this location of this house.
yeah, I was thinking of tearing down the one on the river so this people could see the river at least.
Well, it's a different site.
I get it. Yeah, we built that house, the other house on, you know, as the Y goes, and I didn't even know that road went there. In my whole life, I never knew that it went to the left. That's a nice little piece there.
Yeah,
It is.
it's tough with all those fragmites there, you don't know if someone's coming up or down the driveway now.
Yeah, it's just,
We got
it's
one
just
little
neat to see. I even
pull-out.
asked TJ, I'm like, TJ, where's this highway at? And I've been on I've lived here my whole life, I didn't know where it was. I think they have tried to accommodate their lot size and not gone above and beyond. Personally, I think they've done their due diligence. Hopefully the health department agrees with that and Gary can
I'm
agree
just
to all
curious,
of
do you
it.
know how far out the health department is here for septic? I was talking to Macomb County last week and they were months behind.
I'm not sure. Everybody in construction is behind.
Yeah, well, they were saying that they're pulling everybody from the health department, no matter what their job is, to do shots and stuff, so I didn't know if St. Clair was doing the same. But that's neither here nor there. Anything else? Do you guys want me to make a motion? I would make a motion to approve based on the practical difficulty caused by the unusual lot size, the fact that it is on a peninsula and the lot is very small. This was not self-created by the owner in that, as was stated in our discussion, they attempted to build something reasonable within the confines of what they have. And substantial justice would be served by our allowing it, and it's not contrary to our ordinances in that it fits with the area.
I would second that.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Joanne Shirkey,
Yeah,
Dennis Szymanski,
Yes.
Deborah Addy,
Yes.
Bonnie McNamee Slater, yes, Brian Treppa.
Yes. Very nice, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's gonna be a cute little house.
All right, we'll give 1 minute for Bonnie to catch up here.
I
Nope,
like when they
never mind.
have the garage underneath like that, you know?
So, we're on to unfinished business. We don't have any. So, report from our new planning commission representative.
Yes, I just started there in the first week of, well, it was actually the last week of February. And what we've been working on, the master plan was sent out to neighboring communities. There's a fence ordinance coming up. There's been a proposal, they need to have a public hearing on it. We're also working on medical cannabis ordinance. for people with patients and what the rules are going to be regarding that. We're also working on short-term rentals. There's ordinances proposed on all of these things that I just spoke about. They all need public hearings, and they're all in the draft mode.
So
Any
not
questions?
under, the marijuana is not under the new law, it's under the old law?
Clay Township doesn't have a stated ordinance regarding cannabis.
Okay.
So what we've been asked to do is come up with criteria so people can grow it in their house if they have patients, based on the state, but also based on what our needs want to be. So for example, if a producer wanted to produce liquids, we're not allowing that. You'd have to go into an industrial situation for that.
Right.
We kind of steered away from the commercial, so we could save the commercial for other means. So we came up with just some rules. You can't smell it, you can't, and it's the same with the state law. You can't see in the house, you can't have people coming to your house, it's all delivered and that kind of thing. So
Right.
I think it'll work out really well. And those are some hot buttons for the trustees.
Yeah, that,
I can imagine.
that liquid stuff, that's what blows up the houses,
Yes.
you know?
And that's why, thank goodness Gary came up with that, you know, being unaware of that with some of his experiences.
Right.
And so that was very helpful, and he's worked with the planners too on some of the language.
I was gonna say, you have the same planners that we have in New Baltimore, and New Baltimore has worked really well from its inception many years ago, so I'm
Oh,
sure
cool.
they're
That's
bringing
good.
some of that language here.
Yeah, and so I think the draft is up, and I think we're going to have a public hearing on some of these issues. I think the public hearing's coming up for the cannabis.
Did you hear anything on a joint meeting, anybody? I can open this up later, but no? Okay. Well, thank you. So any other matters reviewed by the zoning? So anything, no correspondence, anything from the members?
It's good to see everybody.
Yes?
Finally,
Everyone safe? Good?
Yeah.
Okay. Public comments? Closed public comments?
Motion to adjourn?
Hang on.
Okay.
Gary, how can we not go against you, but also help the circumstances so we, like, address this colony issue? Should we, should we just leave it the way it is and just do it like you want it in a sense? Or should we pursue trying to meet with the planning and say, hey, the ZBA is, thinks that something should change for this?
Yeah.
Just keep it, I'm just trying to open it up for dialogue so they understand our frustration, but I also understand what you just said to me, too.
Gary needs to go to the microphone.
Oh, yeah, we can't hear you. I know.
For people outside the building to hear me. I like the ordinance the way that it is. I think what happens when cases have to come before you, it allows the public to speak. It allows those neighbors that are going to be affected by these changes or these issues that don't meet the ordinance to the T, to have, they're able to come here, voice their opinion and see if they can get a variance. Also allows the public to be able to voice on whether or not they want it or not. Without a doubt, Colony is a unique situation there. Both of those boathouses tonight, I wish my house looked as nice as those.
Yeah,
for
They're
sure.
No,
beautiful.
I get that.
They're gonna add value to that street, value to that real estate, and we should applaud that. Understanding though, that yeah, when they talk about these big boathouses, comes at a price, and if that price is $250 for them to come in and ask for that variance, I think it's money well spent. But I don't think we change the ordinances, to address Colony. I think this is how they can address it, by coming before you. And if there's no public that is would be unhappy with it, then you can make a decision based on that. Is there a hardship over there? No, I think everything's looking real nice over there on Colony. But we have to look at things like, is it in harmony? And if it's in harmony, terrific. And, I've spoken to people on Colony too that aren't looking for
you know, two-story Taj Mahals, big places, that we'll be able to build within our ordinance. So, you know, there's gonna be a mix, and, you know, I don't think we change the ordinance based on, you know, one street.
Okay, I had to hear it, I couldn't, it's like I wouldn't be able to sleep tonight if I didn't hear your, I swear.
The other
I'm like,
thing I
man, I
don't-
don't wanna go against them by no, any way, shape, or form, but we're always, you know, trying to change, but maybe
I
we
know,
shouldn't.
but I just keep going back to, from a legal standpoint, if there's no hardship, how can we approve it without being at fault? I mean, a hardship isn't that it looks nice. A hardship
Well, I
isn't,
think a hardship would be that there are other boathouses falling in.
right, but
and-
they could build the same size without it being a hardship.
Yeah, but
When
some,
you
of-
say hardship, you mean practical
Or practical difficulty, yeah.
a lot of it has to do with the lot size and the shape and the contours. Because you can't, like Gary said, you can't build anything else over there. There's,
Right, and
I
I
like
get
the
that.
harmony verbiage a lot. I like it that, big isn't always better, but I like that they're consistent, and you don't have someone that is extreme. And I
Right.
think that's where Gary is gonna help, or say to us, hey, what if someone wants it 40 feet tall, 50 feet tall? And then where do we stop? In a sense, they
Right.
go, in that circumstance, maybe that would be like, whoa, hang on a second, we are getting a little,
Right.
letting too
And I
much.
mean, I get the lot size, but the lot size doesn't equal living quarters in the second story. It doesn't equal increased height. You know, just some of those things. I get it. It looks nice, and I don't want to be the devil's advocate here. I'm just saying from,
no, I think it's important you do. And because that does keep everyone in check. You know, it's not just a rubber stamp. The other thing I noticed when I was down there is there's so many new boathouses. I'm not really sure how many we'll be presented with
right.
coming up. I mean, everyone's pretty much, I mean, there's probably
Yeah, I was
10
gonna
maybe.
count the ones that needed to be in
Right.
a sense, or
Right.
might
Yeah.
come in front of
Right.
us to make this argument tonight,
Right.
going, hang on a second, there's already 20, maybe there's
How
only
many
5
more?
more, like Gary
Right.
said, there's not that
So
much
do you
more
really
to
go and
come.
change the ordinance?
I get
I
it,
mean,
I
I'm
had to hear them,
Right.
I had to hear it because we're always change, because we don't wanna hear it, but in the same token, I
May
get his
get
point.
something in here while you all talk about that? Is there some way, Gary, that we can get plans without sitting at our computer and looking at them?
We always have the hard copy, the full plans that are submitted.
So we have to come in and look at it. There's no way we can,
Well, the homeowner would have to provide extra plans if you want to see
then they
it.
should. Shouldn't they?
But I thought we were always taught, it doesn't matter what they're building, their variance is a certain thing, it doesn't matter what it looks like.
Right.
I think it's helpful to.
I have been yelled at before for trying to design something, and I'm not supposed to design. I mean, Dennis and I can design something, but it doesn't matter what it looks like. It's
I
the
think
height,
I think it's
the width,
extremely
the
helpful.
quote, I mean, it is, I agree.
Because
But as
that's
far
why I
as
said to
someone
the
to
guy-
provide a full set of plans, might be, ouch, I don't know.
Well, I don't know that we need a full set of plans.
Need a full set.
Right.
But that I printed off.
You can't see anything.
Yeah, it is
I can't
difficult.
see it on my
Yeah,
computer.
It is.
On a
Brian.
10
Yeah.
by 18 paper or something?
Cindy?
We had a unique situation here. Number one, the applicants didn't give us the correct number of plans. They should give us 8, they gave us 2. And I did talk to Joanne. She knew we had the plans in the office, but her schedule didn't allow her to come in. So that was a unique and unfortunate situation. And then Deborah had come in and inquired about it, so that's when we decided to send them out electronically.
Mhm.
So if they submit the correct number of plans, we can put them in the packet. What I'm concerned about is the township is transitioning to everything digital, a new software system,
Yep.
and there's not gonna be any hard copy packets distributed after that. So. we're
But
gonna
if we
to
have the
find-
applicant bring these plans in, and they have extra ones, it would be nice to have a copy for everybody. If they,
Right.
Or just at least one, so
But
we
if
could all
we're
look
not,
at
if we're
it.
not distributing hard packets anymore, then and if you feel the need to look at the plans, then it would be up to you to come into the township then to look at them or pick up a copy.
So how are we gonna have a meeting with no paper? Are we gonna have an iPad or something? Because my phone just went off right now, how am I gonna look at my phone and?
Brian, I'll have to check with the clerk and see, what the answer is to that. We've already transitioned the planning commission. This will be their second meeting coming up with the software.
How do they do it?
We haven't had any plans for the
Right.
planning commission.
We haven't
Okay.
had any.
Well, I'm not trying to say, hey, I want an iPad, because I don't, but in the same token, if my phone is on, I'm gonna get lit up here.
And this is all through MTA standards.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna have, that's just another headache that you guys are gonna have to, I don't know what the answer to that, but Joanne, I agree. Next time, if you can't get across, or it's because you're over on island, if we throw it on that group email, I do read them. Maybe I can grab the plans one day, and, cause I'm on island, you know what I mean? I could drop them off to you, you know what I mean? Yeah, but without us knowing that you could get there, maybe, just say next time if you have a hardship, if it goes to Cindy, we're not talking together, you're just saying, hey, I can't get there, and then maybe one of us could volunteer, hey, well, we can drop the plan off to you, take a look at it, and that's it. We don't have to talk at all. I mean, there's not three of us, so it's not a,
Right.
whatever that closed meeting thing is, you know what I mean?
Quorum.
I just don't want you to not have all the information
It's
that
very
you have to
helpful.
have, but
It
in the
really
same
is
token,
helpful. It sure
I
is.
can read a plan from, this sheet, but again, it's not that I'm, looking at the house going, is it the same roof pitch as the existing house? I mean, I'm not, looking at that kind of design factors. But, when I look at the plans, but I don't want you to not have that, the information if you need it. So, I don't know what we're gonna do on that one, so she needs a bigger iPad.
Actually, I bought our building department a
12
really
by-
nice big one.
17 by, what is the, 18 by?
19 by 26 or
No,
18 by
there,
26?
so 36 by, or 24 by 36 goes down to 12 by 18, I think is the next
Yeah.
size legal plan that we can build off of. I'm just teasing, but I don't know how we're gonna go paperless, especially, you know what I mean? We're gonna have to have some kind of iPad, and with COVID, I don't see all of us touching, I don't know. So that's a whole nother next year
Right.
about.
I'm sure they'll
Thank you,
explain
Gary.
it as it goes.
I had to have it out, I'm sorry to prolong this meeting, but I had to get that, because I don't want us to attack Gary saying, hey, change, or go after planning. Why haven't you guys, in a sense? Now we know why.
Because
So,
we're having.
open dialogue, yeah, because we can't, I agree. And to say Gary is in charge of whatever he wants to allow build on Colony, I get his point, like, hang on, I don't wanna be all of that either. There's gotta be some kind of
Right.
guidelines, so. All right, now I'll be quiet.
Motion to adjourn?
There we go.
Sure.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye, thank you.